Hi, welcome to Illuminated Tarot. My name is Jenna. Today I'm here to do a reading for you for the week of February 3rd through the 9th. Yes, it's time for a collective reading yet again, my friends. Welcome in. Thank you for coming in. The last time I did a weekly, I was doing the Lunar New Year. How's everyone doing? Welcome to February. Made it through January. That felt like a long one, a hard one, a difficult one. But we're going to be turning the page here. This week, there's going to be a strong need for inner stability in the midst of our changing world. We have a very strong Neptunian influence this week with the North Node in Pisces conjuncting Neptune on the 7th. We're feeling that now already coming in. This is going to have a wide arc of influence energetically on us all, where the veil is going to be thinning. It's going to seep into our dreams, our intuition. It's pulling back the veil and it's opening us up to the higher dimensions. And if we're not careful, it could overwhelm us with emotion. So Neptune is an evolutionary planet, and its role is to help us to get beyond ourselves. So we seek this path on a deeper level of our own spiritual evolution. So in its highest expression, Neptune can bring peace, it can bring oneness, it can bring unconditional love. But in its lowest expression, it can confuse, it can bring us into this abyss and what may feel like more of an existential yearning or crisis. So this is about finding our inner center this week and returning to that place that we all know of called the essence of who we are. The more you focus all your efforts on that place, the easier you will navigate this strong Piscean influence. Even though we're in Aquarius season, a lot of you felt this over the weekend, right? So we're being compelled right now to trace a path back to something greater than ourselves, okay? And this is all for the highest good for our continued soul growth, evolution, and expansion. All right. We also have Jupiter entering into the sign of Gemini, and it is finally no longer in retrograde. It turns direct, which now Jupiter is our good luck planet. Jupiter is also the seeker. So it works to make the world bigger. So it's going to inspire you to want more, to open your eyes more to the world, to think beyond yourself. And, you know, I love Jupiter. It's one of my favorite planets, and I'm an Aquarius Jupiter. So I see it's the, what is that Nelson Mandela quote? Be the change you want to see in the world type of energy. So I think it also is going to compel us to consider our faith, to share our wisdom, and to advocate for our own convictions. I think the Piscean energy too, that we're moving through, as well as this Jupiter expansion, is about getting into the emotional and psychic heart of things, especially in our relationships. As Venus is also going into retrograde this week too, or the shadow side, of the retrograde, that's going to be taking place in March. Venus is going to be entering Aries. So it's going to be more about what are your individual wants and needs, advocating for those in relationship. So I think that there's going to be a lot of energy cultivated this week around getting to the heart of the matter, right? And if you're not getting to the heart of the matter, you could feel like things are a little bit blurry and you could be caught up in any kind of emotional current as a result. So make sure you're very clear with what you're feeling, getting to the root of things that are coming up, especially in your communications with others as Gemini, right? In Jupiter. We're taking a look at how we relate to the people around us. So you could have conversations that need to be had this week. So instead of going into that's a little bit of the astrology of the week, big stuff happening, especially with that conjunction in the North Node, right? It's like we're taking that magnifying lens and we're probing people and we're digging, and it might be a little uncomfortable. All right. But overall, I think that if you like to swim in deep waters, and you're really adept at letting your soul lead, it'll be a lot easier. So turn on your psychic senses, turn on your deep inner knowings, and let those parts of you guide you forward in the week ahead. So instead of doing the prophetess, I'm just going to take a little break from that. I decided to cull different quotes that I used to do on the internet, right? On Instagram. So let's go into some of the quotes for the week. The first one I thought was so beautiful. It's defining what soul helper means. Soul helper, an individual who comes into your life for a moment, lifetime, or anywhere in between, and helps your soul move towards growth, healing, and alignment. So honor, give thanks, hold gratitude for the soul helpers in your life, and also you in the role as soul helper for the people around you this week. That was said by Vienna Pharaon. She's known as Mindful MFT. This also is from her as well, which I do a lot of parts work in my work as a reader and also as in my therapeutic background. And there's parts of ourselves that make us true empaths, so we feel the pain of the world. But because, she's an MFT, marriage and family therapist, she was wanting to speak to the part of you that tends to focus on the other too much. So I think this is really important because as Venus enters Aries, this is really going to be shining a light on what you need to focus on in yourself and less on what's going on in the other, whoever you're contending with or dealing with or talking to. So, dear empath, one of the greatest gifts you can offer yourself is putting down the explanation and context for others. Yes, there's a story. Yes, there's context. Yes, that person's behavior makes sense when you understand the whole picture. But every time you go there before connecting with yourself, you deny yourself the very important act of witnessing your pain and honoring it. And it doesn't even have to be pain, just witnessing what you feel and honoring it, other than trying to contextualize and analyze someone else's behaviors. I thought that was really important. Love her work. If you want to check her out on Instagram, she's awesome. All right. Now, John Waddell, he is a great poet. I like this a lot because I think this is because it's like we're being guided by the stars, right? In this Aquarian season, but we're swimming, y'all, in the current of life and in this Piscean Neptunian energy. When I'm caught between a rock and a hard place, let me be water. Let me be water. Let me be water. Love him, John Waddell. And now we have Farah Sadiq. I like her work as well. She always has groovy tunes with her posts and her words. When you are connected to Source, your faith is infinite and miracles are the standard. So stay deeply connected to Source and the higher self within you. Right? Higher self, that's the work, right? To lead your life from the place and embodiment and the integration of the shadow, and you are led and guided by your higher self. The more shadow work you integrate, the more you can heal that part of you that wants to rule, right? Which is more of a fear-based way of living to a higher heart coherence and a soul's way of living, right? Higher self way of living. All right. This is big, this one, these two. They're done by Co-Humans Project. I love his writing. I discovered him a few weeks ago, and he's profound. I'll probably be sharing a lot more of his poetry moving forward. You must choose. Use your pain to justify hurting others while deepening your own wounds, or let your pain teach you how to help others while healing yourself. Soul helper in you. I see that soul helper in you. And then the next one. When your path is hard to find, remember these things. Courage doesn't erase fear. It holds its hand and walks forward. When your path is hard to find, remember these things. A guarded heart doesn't prevent pain. It only prevents love. When your path is hard to find, remember these things. The more I seek to learn, the less I seek to blame. When your path is hard to find, remember these things. Acceptance is the bridge between what was and what can be. Oh, isn't that great? I just love that. All right, I've got lots of decks on the table. We're going to go deep. I want to get just like a few frequencies. I pulled these for the annual. I just want to get a few frequencies for the week, what we can expect in the energies, okay? Besides the astrology. Thank you, Spirit, for presiding over this reading for the collective today. Thank you all for tuning in, for being here with me, for sharing this time. Thank you for your likes, subscribes, for everyone who signs up for a personal reading. My readings doubled in January. I think everybody just wants what's happening this year? I just want to see. So hit me up. I'm about a 9-day wait right now. All that information's in the description box below. Whoa. Okay. Let's do it. Passion, freedom, interesting, magic, and fertility. Oh my God. I shuffled these before I was on camera. And these are the same ones that came out for the lunar calendar. What are the odds of that? What are the odds of that? That is really wild. There's a very strong influence of this lunar new year. Like the energies are high for this, okay? So, and I do think that because of the Venusian influence with Aries, it's about independence, ending any kind of codependent patterns with anyone in your life. It's about our personal freedom and what are we most passionate about? And how can we create more magic in our lives? And what do we want to nourish? What do we want to grow in the new year? I can't believe that these came out the same. Oh my God. I can't believe it. This is really bizarre. The frequency of, I read this for you like a week ago. This is really bizarre. The frequency of passion reminds us that beneath every intense emotion lies the hidden gem of insight, balance, and calm. It assists us in finding the balance within this intensity, moving us from chaos to the calm of its core, where we can let its long-lasting wisdom fill us up, right? The calm, the eye of the center, the eye of the storm. This energy, it's like the energy that I read for in the Lunar New Year on the 29th. It's so strong still right now. That's why they want me to, it's almost like you could be getting repeating messages, right? Like, whoa, I think I've been here before. I know this feeling. I've been in this situation before. I get a chance to respond differently this time. So that might be like Groundhog's Day with something. It could be even same energy, similar situation, but different characters, right? Different people. So keep watch out for that. A lot of us maybe even had experience like that over the weekend. We're like, oh my God, I'm having like a do-over. It could be the same person, or it could be, ooh, this is something I didn't learn and I get to try. I could choose a different outcome or choose differently that I didn't in the past. Okay. Basically not repeating an old cycle, right? Because there's two timelines that are splitting right now where we have a choice point, a huge evolutionary choice point. Are we going to evolve and grow or devolve, right? Evolve or devolve. And it's like you're being pulled in two different directions. You'll know you're going in the higher direction, in the evolutionary direction, when you're really looking inward at the fear blocks and you are honoring them, but you are not allowing them to dictate your thoughts, feelings, behaviors, and beliefs. Okay? The timeline of being caught up in the emotional current and being blocked by fear, it's going to be a harder path. So there could be some big breakthroughs this week around, okay, it's almost like Spirit's giving us a window of like, I'm picking up on this, of the new moon and the full moon coming up on the 12th, of like, you need to choose. You really need to choose for this year's energy. Are you going to choose passion, freedom, magic, fertility? Or are you going to choose less than that? Less than that, right? The opposite of that. Less passion, less freedom, less magic, less fertility. Or more passion, more freedom, more magic, more fertility. Freedom, the energy of freedom supports our sense of limitless possibility and potential, boundless expression, and bold exploration. So Spirit's saying the sky's the limit when you let your soul lead you. But if you let your lower self lead you, what happens? You stay stagnant, right? You stay stuck. So there's some major, major breakthrough energy these next 2 weeks. I mean, we're about, what? The new moon was on the 29th, and here we are positioned. I'm reading on the 3rd. So we have a chance here, right? Choose wisely. Magic. The frequency of magic supports our intrinsic ability to grow and expand beyond this moment, to move toward possibilities and expressions that are as grand and profound as we can imagine. All that is required is our belief in their manifestation. So I'm telling you what, you all, this is a huge choice point, right? When you're connected to Source, your faith is infinite and miracles are the standard. Okay? Fertility. The frequency of fertility invites us to be more open, more courageous, right? I talked about courage. Doesn't just erase fear. It holds its hand. Hey, fear is going to come up, but if you let fear guide you, you got to let the courage override the fear, you all. All right. Whatever you're trying to do this week, especially, I mean, it's really around anything that's requiring courage, right? To go deeper. It activates the potential for something beautiful to grow from our conscious into a new and grander expression of ourselves. This is it. It's a fertile time for us to make an evolutionary quantum leap. I have a dear friend across the world in Ibiza, and I'm going to be promoting her because she's one of my spiritual mentors, and she's really been helping me connect these cosmic dots around any restrictions I have on going higher in every realm of my life and deepening and being more soul-led and guided. And you may see me and think, oh, Jenna, you're already there. No, there's always room for more. There's always room for growth. There's always room for expansion. We're an expanding universe. So it's not about stagnancy and staying stuck in one vibrational state. It's ascension, right? It's so great. It's so great. Anyway, I'll be talking more about her in the future, but she is awesome. That's a little bit under wraps right now, but just know, like, we're here for each other. This is about connecting with our soul tribes, right? And helping each other in our own learning and our own understandings and our own healings. Now we're going to get into a few more oracle messages before we get into the tarot. I just want to pull one or two more. That's so wild. I can't believe it. Spirit's really emphasizing those energies of fertility, passion, magic, and freedom. Okay? We're at a very critical choice point right now. Two timelines. And they're actually saying, too, do you want to stay in the old operating system, the old part of you that wasn't really serving you? You know, we're talking about where maybe you found yourself 5, 10, 1 year ago. For a lot of people, done deep inner journeying, inner healing, you know, dark night of the soul work, that sort of thing, right? You're breaking open, your spiritual awakening type of work. A lot of us were like, this is my third or fourth, right? So this is the next jump, right? Quantum leaping, right? Stay where you are or take that next leap, right? And follow the upgrade. Follow the upgrade. Follow the evolution. All right. And that means stepping into new roles, stepping into seeing yourself differently. What else do we have here? Spirit. These two. I knew it. I knew it. I felt this over the weekend. I was like, oh, my body was like, move, 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 dance, play, do the yoga. It's about moving the energy. Don't let it get stuck in your body. Cleansing. There's a deep purification going on with this Neptunian energy where we are definitely getting the downloads. It's almost like we're being washed clean here, energetically, purifying from the old way of operating into the new way of operating. And it's like, it's a sacred act. We're in the deep emotional waters of our intuition, and we're being called forth. We're being summoned by spirit. You know, it's like, this is about growing and evolving. And in that, we are encouraged to imagine. I'm just seeing if those are. There's a central sun. I'm getting like there's a central core light and connectivity in our imagination. It feels like we have multiple choice points this week. First, you purify your thoughts, purify your body, right? Purify your mind. Yesterday, I sat down and I wrote down goals around my physical health, mental health, emotional health, and spiritual health for February. This is the month where it's the number 2. This is our partnership with self. Yes, it is about like our romantic bonds, but really one of my friends said yesterday, make love to the day, right? So there's something about really communing with your inner knowing, your inner being. And the more you do that, the more you work on that, the stronger you become and the more energy you have to go out into the world and do what you do. So through this purification that we're going through, we're being called to imagine a new way of being, a new world, right? The visionary. It really is the marriage between Pisces, basically the Neptunian conjunction in the North Node with Pisces, right? And Aquarius, all happening this week. So it's purifying our belief system about what we imagine is possible so we can expand. I feel like there's one more that wants to come through. One or two, they're saying. What else, Spirit? I love it. imagine. And then we have power place. And there's your seat of power. Your seat of power is in cleansing the old, releasing the past, learning what needs to be learned. Don't repeat past cycles, people. Oh my God, you'll just be spinning and spinning and spinning and churning in an emotional current that you don't want to be in the abyss, right? So step into the magic and the passion and the freedom and the fertility of your imagination and let these waters of Neptune cleanse you. Let yourself be water, right? Let yourself be water. And find your power place, which is you. I'll tell you, when I'm aligned and I'm in like a really good pocket of energy is when I'm doing work on my body, mind, and spirit. It's like, get back to the basics, people, this week. If you're going through a difficult time emotionally, if you're moving through a lot, this is when we have to hone in on our practices, right? That's what helps us see it through. Okay. I love it. Allow yourself to be cleansed by Neptune. Neptune's stepping in and saying it's time to purify. So this is cleaning up our diets, cleaning up our thought system, our belief system, having daily spiritual practices. Meditation's important. Breath work is important. Yoga is important. Anything that helps you with your mindfulness. All right, let's see. I feel like January was like really shining a light, like a mirror effect of like what you needed to see in order to really make peace with your past and let go. And now you're purifying, releasing the energetic debris of that. And then you free up space to imagine what's next. And you sit in your seat of power. In the power of three. The three triangles. Body, mind, and soul. The three power points. All right, let's go into the tarot now. Yeah, a lot of people are going through some sort of loss. It's the loss of an old way of life. It's the loss of an old way of operating. It's the loss of maybe people, places, things that we didn't want to let go of, but we need to. Whatever isn't serving your higher timeline has to go. And I know it's hard. I cried a lot over the weekend. Shed what needs to be shed. I know it's like, but I want to hold on to it because it meant something to me, right? But if holding on to it is burning you, you have to let go. Because this is about our own evolutionary pathway, opening up our arms to greater illumination, to letting more light in. Letting more light in. The grief lets more light in. The suffering lets more light in. Whenever we go down, it points us inward. And what do we do when we're pointed inward? We dig deeper and we say, the health of my mind, body, and spirit matters more than the lack, right? Whenever I go through a hard time, it's spirit saying, go back to yourself. Focus on what you need, not what the people around you need. What do you need in order to bring happiness? It's like they're giving us this like pause over these 2 weeks to grieve what we need to grieve and know that there's so much happiness and illumination coming after. You must trust in that. Trust that whatever you have to let go of right now, it's about being led and guided by your faith and your intuition that whatever has to go, it wasn't going to serve you to hold on to it. And that something better is going to come instead. Right? It's going to replace that, whatever has to go. That energy. It creates space for what's meant for you. Okay? I know it's hard. It's very hard. But, I mean, that seems to be part of our lives, right? Nothing stays the same, and it's hard to let go. All right. King of Cups and the Emperor. Wow, there's a lot of divine masculine healing. Whenever we said that we can't or we won't, we're ambivalent and we're not stepping into our own power, it's about our personal power. And the highest resonance of an open-hearted way of living. Emotional empathy, emotional intelligence, emotional maturity. We are now positioned in a place where we need to be operating as souls from our seat of personal power, being led and guided by the higher self, the higher mind. Grieve what you need to grieve. It creates more space, right? Look at that. Wow. I'm actually really like, wow. Our power place, our seat of power, like a lot of people this week could be making power moves, saying, you know what, I'm letting go. I'm moving through the grief. I'm moving through the loss. I'm moving through the changes. Whatever has happened in my life, I feel it. Feel it, honor it. There's great suffering being kicked up right now. It's putting us on a different timeline of compassion and of taking the power back in our lives and what we need to learn and grow. In the sun is our own inner light. Let's clarify. I want to clarify the sun. I feel like there's a lot, like the Emperor is about our authority. And the sun is about our light. Can you give all of your trust and faith to your higher self right now? Even when you're like, this doesn't make sense. Why is this happening? I don't understand. That's when we dig our deepest and do our greatest healing. All right, let's look at the sun. It came out first. Why is the sun here, Spirit? What do you want us to know? The Hanged One. This is about our own evolution. It's about our own enlightenment. It's about the discomfort in that. It is uncomfortable. It's so uncomfortable when we get pushed in situations. Passion. Queen of Wands. Three of Pentacles sideways. Yeah, this is about co-creating the realities that we seek and who's going to be part of that journey and who works with you, who isn't, who's at your level, who is vibrating at your level. You need to be so discerning right now. This fits, this doesn't fit, right? This connection is working, this isn't working. What do you need to look at from a different perspective when it comes to what you are co-creating? And this is also, they're telling me, is less to do with the other and more to do with self, because 3 is body, mind, soul, right? This is what do we need to do to operate from a more integrated place in our wholeness and our own journey in our souls with the Hanged Man. There's divine alignment happening this week around your higher path, your path of power, where you are empowered. So be careful if you are going towards something that is disempowering you and saying that's good enough for me, because it won't be sustainable. This is about the sun. Wow. We're wrapping up a cycle collectively right now around what's going to bring us happiness when it comes to a crossroads, timeline crossroads, and our manifestations, especially around our connections. This is a big choice point this week, as we're about to go into Venus in retrograde. All right, let's clarify the Emperor. And now my throat's going. We're going to have communication issues to resolve with some people. 10 of Wands. It is the end of a long journey. It's time to drop the burden around being disempowered in any situation. King of Wands in reverse. Dealing with ego. Yeah. The wounds of the divine masculine are alive and well. All right. I'm not talking about you dealing with a man. I'm talking about the part of you in your divine masculine that is not coming into balance with the divine feminine. This is my way or the highway, right? I'm going to respond to life through wounds. It makes the path harder. There's some sort of yielding that's taking place through the heart this week, and it's all masculine. There's only one feminine card here saying, okay, let's just keep it calm. Let's just calm it down, because there's this almost like, you might even feel like there's an aggression and people being amplified in their wounded states. And the way to right above that is to sit in your own practices this week. Okay? Because there's going to be a little bit of friction here, I'm seeing. King of Wands in reverse is someone who's not trustworthy, reliable. They're using their fire energy to manipulate. Okay? So, but it's almost subconscious. There's a subconscious programming running through the patriarchy right now. Let's not go there, Jenna. Let's just say that there's a lot of light being shined in the world right now, collectively. But what I'm talking about is our inner work. Okay? Our inner work this week is to have a cooperative, right? Clear communication style, patient, pausing, responsive place instead of reactive, because there could be some volatility in the air. Okay, this is volatility, right? A lot of spiritedness and abuse of power. Okay, be careful. All right, just be careful around anyone who is going to maybe come from a place of their wounding and say things that they will regret later. Okay? So be careful with your communications this week. I see that there could be some strained communications in that. All right? I'm just getting that we have an opportunity to shine a light on how we use or misuse our power. And we need to override the power from a wounded. This is wounded power, all right? Which shows up in the King of Wands in reverse. And this is about our growth and about coming into balance with our power inside, okay? Our personal seat of power. This is how we go about our business in the world. All right? We want to be integrated and whole in our actions. So I'm getting this overall sense of be mindful of the way you speak to others this week, and be careful when the fear is kicking up. There's going to be some situations going on around all of us where you're going to see people maybe act out. Even like you could be at the grocery store and be like, whoa, like, you know, it may not even be in your personal life, but there's some sort of, I feel like, inner rage, but it's from the patriarchy, because there are systems being dismantled right now on a collective level, and we're all taking a look at that masculine part of ourselves. The distorted masculine is, you know, not being soft and receptive, softening the ego. So do your work to do that in any part of your life this week. You might have situations that come up where you're going to be like, where you're pushing against, you know, something where you're feeling disempowered. If it gets to the point where you are getting aggressive, then you need to pull away and self-soothe, self-regulate, and then respond. Make sure you're accessing the divine feminine in whatever you do. Especially some of this is work-related stuff where there could be like work spats, not seeing eye to eye, someone trying to take control, if we're talking about individual stuff. And, you know, just the despair around that. Like, why do people got to be like, you know, hateful, right? Coming out of a feeling of disappointment. 4 Cups, I like seeing that. King of Pentacles, grounding. Grounding, that's what I mean. Do the practices that help you ground this week. Yeah. This is about our connections. There's a Venus in retrograde in Aries ain't pretty, okay? This is when we start saying, you know what, I've had enough, right? I'm going to speak up for myself. Just do it with love, okay? Be careful with being sharp-tongued, all right? Or being volatile or reactive. I'm saying this for you because if you have someone coming at you, your best advice is to ground in your energy. Try to look at the bright side, which you are, okay? This is like, negativity, right? Draining energy. Don't ride that timeline and don't overemphasize it in your mind. Just let go. Let go. Let yourself be water, okay? Let yourself be water. Ground, right? There's a lot of love this week if you ground in that. Ground in the higher light. There's love all around us, okay, people? This is about seeing the bigger picture. King of Pentacles. And coming out of disappointment. A lot of us are realizing, oh my God, I did not know that this was going to happen. And it's time for me to let go now. All right? And purify this and imagine something else, right? and return back to my inner center of power. It doesn't have to be nasty. I'm just saying that King of Wands is not very pleasant. All right. Whether you saw something in someone or it came out of you or you're seeing it around you. This is about being careful with bottled up feelings and emotions in self or other. Okay. Just a little warning, because I rarely get the King of Wands in reverse. And this is a lot of, I just feel like there's masculine energy really kicking up this week. We have King of Cups, Emperor, King of Wands, King of Pentacles. This also is about our power. Whenever we see all these kings, how are you using your power in the world? How are you leading your life? Are you leading your life? Are you letting someone else lead your life, right? Are you in control of your own life? Inspiration hunt. Your soul knows. Yeah. We're entering an era after these 2 weeks. I think after the full moon, things are going to just... But it is about around flowing with the waters. Yeah. There's some silence going on where we need to return to the silence. And this is our self-care, sorry. This is about being inspired, right? What did I say here? Imagine. Take your imagination and think positively about others. Wish them well, right? And if it's not working, take space. Your soul knows what's best for you. And if you're not sure about a situation, go into silence, okay? I'm getting that strongly. I'm not going to read that. Let's go into Mark Nepo. It feels like this could be a really beautiful week if you can stay in your emotional maturity and you can stay grounded and you stay in your own personal place of power. All right, let's now read the reading of the day here. February 3rd, Yearning. Before we blink, we know each other. We speak before we speak, with eyes and lips, and how we tip our heads, and how we lean like trees, tired of waiting for the sun. We tell our whole story before we even open our mouths, yet we frequently pretend that nothing is conveyed. We pretend we are strangers and deny what we learn before words. We are all made up of yearning and light, searching for a way out, afraid we'll be shut in or cut off or repelled back into the ground from which we are reaching. This is enough to begin. To know before all the names and histories drape who we are, that we want to be held and left alone again and again, held and left alone until the dance of it is how we survive and grow, like spring into winter, into spring again. As you move through the week, let in what you learn of others by how their being passes you. Without a word, bestow a blessing on each as they walk away. Wow. It feels like maybe there's a lot of people walking away from people this week. And people are trying to find a way out of their situations. I guess in the end, we are held in our aloneness. Interesting. You know what? Y'all are going to, that was a deep one. I think we have a yearning to connect, but the thing is if you're connecting with someone and the energies aren't aligned, learn and grow from it and then release. It's like we're living in an era where whatever we're trying to hold on to, if it's causing too much turmoil, anxiety, or friction, or if it's incongruent, and I say this all the time, you can't fit a square peg into a round hole. No matter if you have every tool in the world, because if you're the square peg in this and what you're dealing with is a round hole, it's like actually it's opposite. It's like how you cannot change other people. You have to accept the way other people show up in your life, in circumstances. And our job isn't to change other people. Our job is to change ourselves. All right. So let's get a keeper of the light. It feels like it could be a potentially intense week. I'm not going to lie. There's something kind of intense about this with Neptune. Supreme protection. Protect your energy. I just feel like there's some sort of divine masculine stir here. Let yourself be water this week, okay? You are protected. Cords are being cut. Move beyond limitation. Trust. Yeah, it's the turning away from anything that isn't working in your life because it's going to be too hard to make it work. Okay? And this is about our connections because it's the Two of Cups. These are our strongest. This is how we learn, how we grow, is our deepest connections. All right, green Tara. Okay. You are safe. Protection is all around you. The worst is behind you. And you're ready to move beyond the challenges that were set out for you. Cords are being cut between you and your past so that you can feel energetically clear and aware. Don't worry about recalling fearful experiences. They aren't going to be recreated now. Just acknowledge them and leave them behind so you can step into a space of spiritual and personal freedom. Green Tara has placed a force field of complete love and acceptance around you. She's here to tell you that you no longer need to build up walls around your heart and that it's safe to trust what you feel and who is in your life today. All right, so there's a cutting away right now around the energies that are not going to help you deepen on your path moving forward. They will only hinder that. Okay, so Spirit is saying, we have you, you are protected. If it's too hard to make energy of you and whatever else you're dealing with work, it's time to release. Purify, let go. This is truly, that's why this year is so intense, is because it's time to wake up on the journey, take accountability for how we show up, wish everyone around us and hold them in the highest regard and the highest light possible, but not put up with anything that you know is going to take you away from living your fullest, unlimited potential in your lifetime. So whatever's holding you back from your past, this is the year. This is the time. You're going to get it over and over again to the point where you're like, okay, that's enough. Some of us are like, I've already done a lot of that work and I'm now going to help other people. Some of this is you helping other people. Like I said, when I said, use your pain to justify hurting others, you must choose. Well, deepening your own wounds, this is the choice point for a lot of people on the light worker path. Are you going to use your pain to justify hurting others while deepening into your own wounds? Or are you going to let your pain teach you how to help others while healing yourself? This is the timeline, right? Shrink or expand. Stay the same or change. Spirit's not messing around this year. Spirit is not messing around. All right. So let me get one final frequency. This was just a long one. Solar plexus chakra. It is. It's about our personal power. The sun, our solar plexus. What does this have to say? Number 3. What did I say? Body, mind, soul. Body, mind, soul. The frequency of the solar plexus chakra, the yellow flower of life, supports our sense of self, our personal power, and our willpower, as well as our knowing of who we are and what our contribution is to the whole. Go deeper and deeper into who you are, okay? And don't let anything restrict you from that or preoccupy you from that. My stomach, it's so funny when this happens. Whenever I talk about the solar plexus, my stomach growls. So wild. Y'all know what I'm talking about, you energy empaths. When I feel the energy, I literally feel the energy in my body. So nourish yourselves, nourish your bodies, nourish your minds, and nourish your spirits in February, okay? I'm going to finish up concludes the reading portion. I'm going to finish up the earth signs for February in the next day or two, and then I'm going to go into the weekly for the 11th through the 20th next, I believe. Is that right? Yeah. 1st to the 10th, 11th through the 20th. Yeah. So it may, I don't know. I need to take a look at the dates just because February is a shorter month. But try to stay as positive and as aligned as you can because that's the journey. It's all coming back into alignment with self, okay? And releasing and changing in our neuroplasticity around our subconscious programming so we can step into a higher light vibration, okay? I'm sending so much love. Thank you for listening. Namaste.